Welcome to the Citizen Report. I'm Shannon, and thank you for joining me tonight. As always, this newscast is real, in-depth American. So glad everyone can join me. My co-host David Heller is not going to be on this episode, but not to worry. He was on earlier tonight in a special bulletin regarding the tropical storm currently brewing out in the Gulf of Mexico, and he will be back on next time. I wanted to come on here and do this kind of solo this time because I wanted to cover a number of things just a number of different things. So this is going to be a rather dynamic podcast today, or broadcast today. And this, as I'm coming to you, as I'm recording this, it's a little bit after midnight on June the 7th. So regarding the hurricane, I will be doing an update on the hurricane. I'm going to try to make it so that the update, by the time you see this, is still going to be fresh information in terms of, not going to be outdated. I'll do my best anyway, but I'm also going to first get into some of the other issues like George Soros, some things Q mentioned regarding exposing the media and their and the deep state's agenda, and a couple of clips as well. I think you'll find interesting, or a few clips. But first, I wanted to get obviously we got to talk about the riots because it's funny because the protests, the media keeps saying they're mostly peaceful. Yeah, right. And yet, if you look at footage, all you have to do is go online. All you have to do is go online, and you'll see it. You'll see footage, and you'll see all these different things that suggest strongly otherwise. I'm not saying that there's an absence of peaceful protests somewhere. Certainly, if you look far enough, you'll find a peaceful protest. I'm not saying that there's an absence thereof altogether, but the media definitely wants you to think that for the most part there's not rioting. But if you look at these clips, it's just shocking, and it appears that things are calming down. I think the deep state's agenda is already failing on that front. But just to say, the media is continuing to push this to the nth degree. They're trying their best to keep this going, and I think their agenda on this is already failing. We'll have to see what they do in the coming weeks, the deep state. They'll have to pivot to something else if they can't keep this going, because after all, it's all about stopping Trump, all about stopping the rescue of our republic by any means necessary. Again, I do have a few clips to show you, so let's get started, shall we? And by the way, I'm actually using the Zoom software, so I'm still learning with this, so I might be a little clumsy, but I'll do the best I can with this. But I want to first kind of just talk to you, or show you, I should say, a clip from MSNBC, basically showing them literally claiming that these are peaceful protests. And while he's making that claim, there's literally a fire right behind it. Peaceful protest? Yeah, right. Oh boy, but let's play that clip first if we dare. And this is actually from, I'd say, a week plus ago, but it's still very relevant with regards to the media bias and the media manipulation in the mainstream, I should say. Let's play this clip first. It's very short. The part I'll play is very short.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly, but fires have been started.
So it's mostly peaceful, but fires have been started. Oh, really? How is that? How is that to say that the fires were started by a peaceful protest? I mean, it's absolutely preposterous. And you need to, I'm trying to get people to think, just because you see something on CNN, just because you don't see something on CNN doesn't mean it isn't true. And the opposite, it's like, if you see something on CNN or MSNBC, it doesn't mean it is true. It's like they're saying the peaceful protests. And yet all you have to, right there on their air, there was a fire right behind him as he was lying to you. As he was lying to you. It's just absolutely preposterous. It's absolutely journalistic malpractice at its finest. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's just insane. And now we also have this clip, and I wouldn't be surprised if most of the mainstream media will do their best to ignore this. I could just imagine, well, I'll let me get to this next clip, and then I'll have some commentary about it. But this just tells you that they want you to think all the black people are upset and they're out protesting or whatever, or they need to be protesting, etc. But this just proves to you that the mainstream Mockingbird media, that they are lying to you also by the fact that not all black people are like this. They're not all out there rioting. They're not all out there protesting. A lot of black people are just very self-actualizing people. They want to be just a good, productive citizen of America. And this woman is a fine example of that. I want to play this clip, and then as I said, I'll have some more commentary about it. Let me get this going here. And again, I'm using this new software, so I'm still getting accustomed to it. Here we go.
Problem that bothers.
Actually, hang on one second. Let me make sure I was including a sound on that. Again, I'm using this new software. Okay, yes, I had the sound on. I wanted to make sure I had that had the sound activated on the playback. All right, here we go.
You said Black Lives Matter. I've worked here part-time. Plus, I'm a part owner of this store. You said Black Lives Matter. Why don't you choke me? I'm black.
Tell him, sister.
Look what you did to my store.
Tell him, sister.
Look what you did to my store.
Tell them, sister. That's right, because I got they back. These are my dudes right here. Good
Look at the
men.
things you done.
Good men.
Look.
The Black Lives Matter.
We've been here all night cleaning up. All night cleaning.
And you got black people standing right here with them. Black
Tell
people.
me
That's right.
Black Lives Matter.
Exactly.
You lied. You wanted to loot in the store. You needed money. Get a job like I do. Stop stealing. This is the neighborhood. We're trying to build it up, and you tearing it down.
That is a fine example right there of how the mainstream media, how these protesters are not protesters. Let's be clear. These are not protesters. These are rioters. And in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, they are terrorists. They are terrorists because they are causing systematic damage as much as they can possibly do. And then probably Antifa was probably involved with that, or Black Lives Matter. It doesn't really matter. These were protesters, whoever they were. And yet we're supposed to believe that it's perfectly okay to go out there and do these kind of things if it's for the reason of quote unquote police brutality. Now, I'm not saying there isn't bad police officers, but it's kind of like saying that it's not. I mean, every industry, every conceivable job out there, there's going to be a fraction of a percent or whatever of people that's bad. It's just that way. We are in a fallen world. That's just the way it is. But I guarantee you the vast majority of police officers are upstanding, some of the finest citizens in this country. And it's disgusting to see what the media is doing, trying to paint them as all a bunch of racists. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely preposterous. And it's just I just cannot believe that actually there are a lot of people actually buying into this propaganda that these are mostly peaceful protests, even though there's a fire right behind me, but they're mostly peaceful, right? This is MSNBC. We tell you the facts and only the facts. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, and then in seeing this black woman, the terrible thing that they did to her, whoever they were, it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter who did it. The fact is they did it to her, and she is clearly mad at the Black Lives Matter, and she literally told them they lied. And that should be all you have to know about it. I when I go out in public, I'll tell you this. When I go out in public, I go out to the grocery store or like an automotive store or whatever, and I'm around black people, and they treat me with absolute respect. It's just this is exactly, here's the issue, and this is my commentary here. The media, they want us divided. The deep state more specifically, once it's divided. If they can divide us, then they can conquer us. But if we refuse to believe their lies, if we refuse to believe that we are white, brown, black, and that we're supposed to look at each other for our skin color. And by the way, if you believe the Bible, if you're a Christian, you should know we're not, actually all of us are one race. There is no such, it's all a construct. We all have, yes, certain tint to our, our complexion, if you will, of our skin, but that doesn't make us a different race, quote unquote, by their definition. It's absolute. It's just, it's like when I go out in public, I get treated with absolute respect, and it's just so different from what the mainstream media wants us to believe. They want us all turned against each other. They want to divide all of us. They want this conflict. That's what they want. They want this conflict. It's absolutely beyond the pale disgusting to watch what the mainstream media is doing. And I have, not to be specific about it, but, I remember in the past, I have encountered, unfortunately, Black people that were brainwashed, or young Black man that was brainwashed. And he literally, I won't give the details about it in terms of where this happened, but let's just say, a certain academic setting at a previous school, shall we say, college level. Let's just say that. I don't mean to cast any disparities unduly on that place, because I had the most amazing teachers there, and I don't want to say where that was, because this is not a criticism of that place. I'm just saying this one Black young man that was a fellow student of mine, or a peer, I should say, if you will. This is not an exact quote, but verbatim this is somewhat how it went. I remember that I told him that I voted for Trump and I voted for Governor McCrory. He didn't. Governor McCrory, the Republican, didn't win re-election, unfortunately. And he asked me if I like Black people. He asked me if I like Black people because I voted for Trump? Because I voted for McCrory? Are you kidding me? I mean, absolutely ridiculous. And this is exactly what the mainstream media wants. They want us to think that if we're Republicans, if we support our Constitution, if we support a rule of law on a constitutional republic, that we're racist. And they want us thinking the mainstream media wants us thinking that the Constitution is inherently racist. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you go back and look at the Federalist Papers, if you go back and look at what the Founding Fathers said, yes, the Founding Fathers were not perfect people. I'm not saying they were perfect. I'm not saying they were, Jesus Christ. I'm not saying that. None of us are perfect. But I'm just saying that to suggest that the Constitution was birthed out of racism is the most, in my personal opinion, one of the most offensive things on a political scale that I can hear, that someone can say. The Constitution is not racist. This country was built on on having God-given rights that the government does not give us, rights that begin before any establishment of government. They come from, as far as the Founding Fathers were concerned, they came from our Creator, God the Father, God the Son, Jesus Christ, God the Holy Spirit. And it's absolutely disgusting to see what the mainstream media tries to do in trying to tell us that the Constitution is about racism. It's the most preposterous lie. Do not believe the lie. You need to look at what the alternative media, and do your own homework about what the mainstream media is saying, because I guarantee you the mainstream media, MSNBC, CNN, they're lying to you. It's like that footage I showed you a moment ago of that woman, of that lady, part owner of that I guess a restaurant, right? I can just almost hear CNN, some news director CNN say, no, nobody put this on the website. No, nobody put this on the air, because they'll blow up our agenda. See, blacks are literally being used as a pawn. It is the most sick thing I've ever seen. They do not care about black people. I guarantee you, the mainstream media, especially the network level people, I'm not saying every mainstream media person. There are a lot of good people in the mainstream media. I don't mean everybody, but I mean those in power at the network level. They do not care about you. They are using black people as political pawns. That is what they're using them for. It is the most sick thing, one of the most sick thing I have ever, that I mean, the mainstream media, they are telling us that we're supposed to be, that we as white people, that we're supposedly guilty of racism. I'm sorry, but no, I'm not guilty of racism. I'm not guilty of racism. The only thing that, I mean, the only thing that, um, the only thing that I could say is that I actually have had once entertained, like I had listened and to like that peer of mine at a college. Okay, again, I'm not going to say the name because it was a fine institution, great teachers. I'm not going to say the name because it was a fine program I was in. It was a wonderful program I was in. But here's the thing: that fellow student of mine was so foolish because he thought because I voted for Trump and I voted for McQuarrie, I was somehow racist. And I should have shut him down right then and there. And I'm sure I did somehow. But it's like I'm sorry, I'm not going to let somebody lecture me because I support America loving people, pro-America, pro-Republic people. That does not make me a racist. Regardless of skin color or complexion or pigmentation, whatever. It's a construct the deep state wants us in. It's not even biblical. And they want us divided, as I said. They want to divide us so they can conquer us. And it's just the most sick thing that it's just that they want us turning against each other because the color of our skin. And they want to stir up all this crap. And it's ridiculous. And I hope, and I have literally seen some of my, not most of my friends I don't think are like this, but there are, I will say, a minority number of my friends, and I hate to use this word, but white. I don't even like calling people white or black. It's ridiculous. Just a person, a man or a woman. It's what we should be calling people. But for descriptive purposes, white. A minority number of my white friends, Facebook friends, for instance, they were they were talking about how, oh, we need to do better as a society. No. The only thing we need to do is stop listening to the deep state and the mainstream media. We are not inherently divided. The only reason why we're even having this debate is because the mainstream media created a pseudo event to divide all of us. And by the way, I'm not mad at you. Those of you who are listening, I'm passionate. I'm just passionate. Okay. I don't take it the wrong way, but it's just, we need to get beyond this. I hope that this is resonating with at least somebody. We need to get beyond this. We need to come together as a country because there is a real enemy of this country, and the enemy of our country is the deep state. The deep state. They want to destroy this country because without this country, if they can destroy America, then they can bring in their Luciferian New World Order crap. And we're not going to this country will not tolerate it. As long as Christians are around here, we Christians need to stand up and say, we will not allow the deep state to seize upon this country. And yes, we are, by definition, founded as a Christian nation. You can deny that all you want, but look at the history. We are a Christian nation. Look at the Declaration of Independence, endowed by their creator by certain inalienable rights. Now, what part of that is, I mean, does it have to how much more clear can that be? How much more clear can that be? Our founding document, and I need to get to these other things, but I just want to say in closing, we are a Christian nation. We are not inherently racist. This is an attempt by the deep state to create this division, and we must completely reject the deep state's attempt to divide us. We are not inherently like this. We are not inherently white against black. This is disgusting. This is the deep state, and I guarantee you, the deep state, Hillary Clinton, whoever, deep state, they're somewhere behind closed doors. They're laughing their heads off. They're laughing their heads off, probably, or at the very least, they're gleefully observing enough people seeing, being divided like this on these terms. It's ridiculous, and we need to get beyond this. And I hope people are waking up to this, and I do believe some are. You need to red pill people. And we have got the most historic election, in my opinion, in the entire republic's history, and we have to go out and vote for Trump. Do it in person, not vote by mail, and we have to make sure that people understand what it's really about. This is not about Republican versus Democrat. This is about liberty, freedom, and the better word of the two is liberty versus tyranny. It is time that we stand up and say no more to this. It's time. It's time. And I could keep going on. I could keep going on forever. But I hope that was helpful to somebody. And feel free to share this with anybody that you think might need to hear this. Let me do this. I want to still show you a couple more clips. I wanted to do a mini expose, a mini expose of George Soros. And believe me, this is not something mainstream media wants me telling you. This is, first thing I'm going to show you is a clip from 60 Minutes. And again, I think some of this was edited in. So this is not just purely the 60 Minutes CBS clip. Somebody edited in some footage. I have not looked at this entire clip yet. So if there's some graphic images, I apologize in advance. But I believe this is important for those who need that. This is one of the leading frontmen of the deep state. And I want people to understand who this man really is. So let me share my screen here. Well, let me make sure. Again, I'm still learning this software. Okay, yes. Share screen. Okay, click that. Share. Okay, here we go. All right, it's about a little over 2 minutes long. We'll see what this is like. And I don't know if I'll play the whole thing, but we'll just see. As soon as it takes full, I'll start playing it. Okay, here we go.
You're a Hungarian Jew who escaped the Holocaust by posing as a Christian.
Right.
And you watched lots of people get shipped off to the death camps.
Right. I was 14 years old. And I would say that that's when my character was made.
In what way?
That one should think ahead, one should understand and anticipate events.
Look at this guy's face.
One is threatened. It was a tremendous threat of evil. I mean, it was a very personal experience of evil.
My understanding is that you went out with this protector of yours who swore that you were his adopted godson.
Yes, yes.
Went out, in fact, and helped in the confiscation of property from the Jews.
That's right. Yes.
I mean, that sounds like an experience that would send lots of people to the psychiatric couch for many, many years. Was it difficult?
Not at all. Not at all. Maybe as a child you don't see the connection, but it created no problem at all.
No feeling of guilt.
No.
For example, that I'm Jewish, and here I am watching these people go, I could just as easily be there, I should be there. None of that.
Well, of course, I could be on the other side, or I could be the one from whom the thing is being taken away.
Let me pause that for a second. Let me just say, this guy, I have not verified this, but someone's claimed that he was actually a Jew himself, and it appears from this dialogue that would be consistent with what I've heard before, that George Soros is himself a Jew. Unbelievable. Betrayed his own. Let me keep playing.
But there was no sense that I shouldn't be there, because that was, well, actually, funny way, it's just like in markets, that if I weren't there, of course I wasn't doing it, but somebody else would be taking it away anyhow. In other words, whether I was there or not, I was only a spectator, the property was being taken away. So I had no role in taking away that property. So I had no sense of guilt.
Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, can you really even respond to that? Because it's just so, what can you even say about someone like that? It's just diabolical. And obviously they didn't include that on this clip, but I do remember the reporter asking him, do you believe in God? And George Soros just said, no. Yeah, it's like my grandmother said one time when she saw this. Well, he'll find one day he will believe that there's a God. You know, maybe not an exact quote, but something along those lines. Let me show this other clip about George Soros. This is a far more recent clip of George Soros. Let me try to share my screen again. And again, I'm a little clumsy because this is new to this software, and I'm using kind of an odd mouse right now. All right, this is a short clip. Let's play this. This is a far more recent clip of George Soros.
I consider the Trump administration a danger to the world, but I regard it as a purely temporary phenomenon that will disappear in 2020 or even sooner.
Let me play that
I
one more time.
consider the Trump administration a danger to the world, but I regard it as a purely temporary phenomenon that will disappear in 2020 or even sooner.
I mean, what can you say about that guy? He is a very rich person who invests in a lot of different things. And actually, I wasn't planning to show this to you, and I just I wasn't planning on showing this to you. Again, you'll have to bear with me because I'm using a rather I'm using a different kind of mouse right now, and it's kind of clumsy when I'm trying to do a podcast. But this is just unbelievable. This guy who funds all these different movements, and I can't confirm that he's part of Behind Black Lives Matter or Antifa, but it's been widely rumored, if you will. I'm careful to say I don't have confirmation of that, but you can just see this man is absolutely diabolical. He says that I consider the Trump phenomena to be an existential or I'm not quoting him exactly, but I consider Trump to be an existential threat, but I believe it'll be a temporary phenomena or whatever. I mean, really? Are you kidding me? And this guy is so clearly on the side of George Soros is so clearly on the side of darkness. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I want to show you, and before you think that Hillary Clinton is somehow not connected to George Soros, let me play this clip for you so I can dispel that rumor, or dispel those who want to say that there's no such connection between the two, because this I can prove. This is Hillary Clinton and praising and introducing George Soros at some event some years back.
Not enough for America's future that some participate and others don't. We have been given an extraordinary blessing, and at this moment in time, our country needs us, and we need people like George Soros, who is fearless and willing to step up when it counts. So please join me in welcoming George Soros.
This guy who's part of the Nazi system for all intents and purposes, even though he's trying to be a spectator.
it is the first time that I feel that I need to stand up and do something really and become really engaged in the electoral process.
So he says on the record, he's on the record saying he wants to be part of the electoral process. I wonder how that is. I wonder what he means by that. Maybe it's by fudging the ballots or doing something nefarious otherwise, or both, perhaps. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I don't even know. It's like, I don't even know what to say about him. I don't think I need to. If you were listening or paying attention to what I just showed you, I don't think I really need to say anything. I just told you everything you need to know. This is a rich person who's funding so many different things. It's countless. He's a philanthropist, supposedly. Just like Bill Gates, right? And this guy comes to the United States and becomes an American, or becomes a U.S. citizen. So I wonder what else has been going on. If they allowed someone like this to become a U.S. citizen, I wonder what else has been going on all these years with the deep state. Certainly gives one pause to wonder, to think as to what could be behind what led to him becoming a citizen of this country. It doesn't make any sense. But let me, before I get too far away, let me go ahead and share my screen again. And I need to wrap this up. I don't want to get this too far away, too long. I don't want this to become a long-winded show, but I do think it's important that I kind of tied all these, even though I'm kind of jumping around, it's important, I think, to include a number of these things to fill in on everything that's been happening recently. So this right here is a Q post from June 4th. So only a few days ago. This is there's a lot to digest in this post, but let me just read it through and then we'll talk about it. Emergency action message loyalist. Red 1. POTUS, that's President of the United States, Twitter removal. Red 2. Central Communications blackout. And then it has continental U.S. in brackets in bold. Red 3. Classified, and I say classified, it says class, but according to this site, it claims that it means classified. Movement, Pence, or Pelosi or Pence. Red 4. Movement of military assets, and it has 10th Mountain, 1st Marine, CPSD Marine, QVIR, and then there's some underscores in between those things, in brackets in bold, to central locations under guise of citizen riot control. Red 5. National, I think that means national, let me make sure. Yeah, National Military Comm Center. Red 6. It either means security or secure. I actually think that means secretary. I think it might mean Secretary of Defense _ instruct 1. USSS, and according to this site, that would mean, okay, yes, that makes sense. United States Secret Service, Castle Rock, Q. Now, I didn't know how to interpret this on my own. So I was listening to X22 report with Dave. I think it was last night. And he is making the case that he thinks, I think what's going to happen, could happen, is that Twitter will end up banning or removing the president, Trump, from Twitter. And this is their attempts to, this I think is a number of things that could happen. I think this is what Q is saying. These are things that could happen going forward. Central Communications blackout. I think that could mean that, according to Dave, it could mean that they could take down social media. It could mean some other communications. Classified movement, Pelosi or Pence. Could it mean that they're going to secretly relocate one? I think that's going to be Pence, because I certainly don't think the Patriots would be doing that to Pelosi. She's she's third in line, but she's certainly not for the well-being of this country, to put it extremely mildly. I would certainly think that that's to throw perhaps it could be one of those things. I'm just winging it, but it could be one of those things to throw the deep state off by including her name in it, but I don't know. Perhaps they're going to end up having Pence put somewhere safe, just to be on the safe side. Movement of military assets to central locations under guise of citizen right control. So maybe they're moving some military assets around under the guise of moving it to help take control of the terrorism, the riot that's been going on. National Military Comm Center, I assume that means there's some activity there, or could be some activity there. Future president or perspective, or both, I'm not sure. Secretary, again, I'm assuming it means Secretary of Defense, Instruct 1. There might be something with that. I don't know. Secret Service, it makes me think, it brought to my mind the White House going dark. And there were reports that the president for a time was put into the bunker. And again, you see the DC mayor, the deep state, they're trying to remove the protection around the president. I do not think it's going to work, because I do believe this. Here's the thing. I can't confirm this, but I have heard that the president was literally recruited by the patriots, and more specifically, the military, the good guys, the patriots of the military, to take back our republic. Because short of that, failing that happening, that the military may have had to do a coup to restore the republic, because we didn't have, we had lost much of our republic under Obama, and it had been eroded for many years even prior to that. And with Obama, it just accelerated. There have been those who have said there was a 16-year plan where Obama was the first 8, Hillary was the final 8 in destroying America. Again, I don't know for sure, but that's what I've heard. But I'm just throwing things out there for you to think about. Whether everything I said about the deep state, it's up to you to decide. I'm just putting it out there for your consideration. But I also want to show you this. This should be a huge eye opener to you. This is something that Q posted, a picture of this. There we go. This is I suppose this is the popularity or usage of the phrase Black Lives Matter. I assume this might be a search engine. I'm not exactly sure. But look at this. This is summer. Look at that first peak. That was summer 2016. Kind of continuing to fizzle along through the 2016 election. It did kind of increase a bit, bump up a bit after that. But look at it. It's doing it again in the 2020. So what is this about? I think this is to say that this is an election year thing. They're trying to bump this. They're trying to prop this up, trying to get people divided so they can come in and do their thing and conquer us. So we're distracted. We're not paying attention. But I don't think it's going to work. I think there's a lot of people awake, a lot more so than there were even in 2016. There were enough people awake then, but 2020, there's even more now. Let me go ahead and turn that off. And let me also bring this to your attention before we get to the hurricane update, or I should say tropical storm update. Let me bring this to your attention as well. And let me share my screen again. Again, I'm still getting used to this new software. It's great software. I mean, it's very powerful. It's going to really help streamline things and make this broadcast even better. This is a Q post from June 5th. Q post 4426. This is what he says. Important to understand. MSDNC, I'm sure he's meaning MSNBC, but I love how he says MSDNC for Democrat, right? And then it has plus social media, brackets in bold, projection, we are the minority, is false. Exactly. They want us thinking that we patriots are racist, that we are in a small minority. It's not true. And all these polls out there that come out and say, Biden is ahead of Trump. Oh, yeah? All I have to do is go out on the road, and it's just, you can just tell. It would be hard pressed to find somebody actually displaying a Biden sign or bumper sticker or whatever. There's so many people that are supporting Trump. It's incredible. Let me continue. We are the majority and growing every second of the day. Exactly. MSDNC, and then again, it has plus social media brackets in bold, projection, we are divided is false. Let me read that again so it make sure it sinks in. MSDNC plus social media projection that we are divided is false. We are not divided. Let me continue. People are awake and see what is happening. Patriots have no skin color. Humanity is good. Q. Now, humanity is good. I we are a fallen world. Things were perfect back when Adam and Eve were around. I'm just saying. I think what Q's getting at is that we're not the deep state. At least that's what my hope is and what he means by that. But don't get hung up on that. The point of this post is to say what they're saying, that we are the minority, is false. That we are divided is false. It's them projecting. They want to project this reality, or what they want to be the reality. And it's our job as citizens. We are, each of us, and collectively as a people, we are the sovereign of this country. We don't have a king. I mean, Jesus is the true king, the ultimate king, right? But I'm saying, politically in this country, that we are under God sovereign. We are. And there are quotes to support that. And we are not divided, unless if we choose to be divided. We are not the minority. And by that, I mean the patriots, that we love America. We want to see America not be taken over by the Luciferian deep state. We are not the minority. We are the majority. And here's the thing. Christians that want to say, well, we're just not supposed to be involved in politics and we're supposed to just wait for the rapture. Look, we're going to be raptured when God chooses that the time to be that. But until that happens, we're supposed to, according to what it is written, occupy, and I'm probably not quoting it exactly dead on right, but something to the effect of occupy till I come, occupy till Jesus comes. That's, in essence, the message. We're supposed to, as long as we are here, we Christians are supposed to be occupying. Because I'll tell you this, if we're not occupying, guess who is? It's not going to be us. If we're not occupying, if we're not out there spreading truth, it's going to be them. It's going to be the side of darkness, George Soros. It's going to be the Democrat Party that's going to be doing it. And I think people need to understand that. And again, I'm not mad at you. I don't take it that way. I'm just passionate. But I could keep going on all night. But let me get to the weather now, and I hope this was helpful. It filled in some certain details from the recent events, and also putting in context with some things George Soros said, both recently and in the past, as well as Hillary, of course. Let me refresh my screen so I make sure I have the most up-to-date information. It's about just after 1 a.m. Eastern time as I am recording this through Zoom. Let me go ahead and share my screen so you can see this. Now, again, this is 1 a.m., so by the time you see this storm is going to be well ahead, well beyond this point. Let me go ahead and actually advance this forward. This is 1 a.m. Well, come on. Okay, here we go. 2 a.m. Okay, 4 a.m. Maybe I need to pause this to let this catch up. 5 a.m. Let me go ahead and just jump ahead to, let's put it at 11 a.m. Sunday. Again, disregard this. I think this just means the current location. So by 11 a.m. Sunday, it's going to be continuing forward. It's going to be almost to New Orleans, or not New Orleans, but I will say more or less the mouth of the Mississippi River. Let's advance this to about 1 o'clock. The center of circulation is now going to be pretty much making landfall. It looks like right about the low-lying areas of the Mississippi River, jetting out into the ocean, or the Gulf, I should say. 2 p.m. Looks like it's pretty well. Let's see. It's an update. It's making landfall right about then. Let's take this a little bit. Let's leap forward a little bit and see where it is by that point. At that point, it's pretty much moved over land, and it's very, very close to New Orleans. Certainly enough organization going on here. Even though it'll be a tropical storm, at some point it will weaken over land as it continues north. Let me advance this to 11 o'clock Sunday. Let's see what the center circulation. It looks like it's going to be near Baton Rouge at that point. It looks like it's going to jump left. Again, this is modeling. This doesn't mean this will happen. It's just what this particular model, HRRR plus icon. Let me go to GFS. That's a more mainstream model that seems to be still bearing out consistent. Fairly the same thing as that other model. Let me take this forward to about halfway through Monday. Wow, that's going to make a lot of progress. Look at this. It looks like by this point, okay, so center circulation is going to be right in Arkansas. Looks like perhaps in the outlier suburbs of the Little Rock metro, perhaps to the southwest side, like Benton, Bryant, I believe, some of the towns that come to mind. That's 11 p.m. Monday, that's claiming. I don't know if that's basing it on Eastern time. I should clarify that. Let's take this to Tuesday now. Let's not jump forward so much so we can see its progress. Look at that. Those are my friends in Harrison who might be watching this. Looks like the center circulation is going to be right over Harrison pretty much. Wow. Let me try. I don't know why. Okay, there we go. Let's see where it's claiming that it'll be at. 5 a.m. Tuesday. Wow, look at this. This is Harrison right here. And it's wanting to put the center circulation right there. All right, let's take it forward to 8 a.m. Tuesday. It's basically going up Highway 65, it looks like. And it's going right past Branson up towards Nixa, and I assume Springfield thereafter. I won't keep playing this for I'll get off this pretty shortly. And again, obviously, as this continues forward, it's gonna weaken. It'll be a tropical storm, tropical depression, perhaps. By 11 a.m. Tuesday, the center circulation perhaps could be north of Springfield. The takeaway is this: be prepared. There could be there could be flooding from a lot of rain. There's a lot of things that can happen, even if this is not a hurricane. It is an organized tropical system. I think that's what people need to understand. Let me go ahead and get you the latest forecast track to update from our special bulletin earlier this evening or late today. I'm trying to get the latest forecast track if I can. Okay, here we go. This is the 10 p.m. Central Time update, or 11 p.m. Eastern on this Saturday. We're now going into Sunday. This is after 1 a.m. Sunday where I'm at. But it looks like it'll make landfall as a tropical storm along the Louisiana Gulf Coast. It will continue north, continuing to retain tropical storm status perhaps for a time, eventually weakening to a tropical depression. And 7 p.m. Monday, it's in the middle of Arkansas. 7 a.m. Tuesday, it's a tropical depression over the middle of Missouri. 7 p.m. Tuesday, it's a post tropical storm, or I should say post-tropical depression, I should say, meaning it's it's lost its tropical characteristics, but still a depression nonetheless. Somewhere around Indiana, perhaps crossing into Wisconsin. 7 p.m. Wednesday. 7 p.m. Wednesday. It will be over into Canada. So just be aware, folks, of this potential threat. It's not a hurricane, but just be aware of it. Let me show you this. I don't know why that just happened. It's my clumsy mouse, or the mouse pad, or whatever. This is the this is what it's projecting for rain. So it looks like it's going to be a big bullseye here around the Louisiana coastal areas, Mississippi, edging, perhaps going into Alabama a little bit. A lot of rain over here in Florida as well, Florida Panhandle especially, from about, looks like about Apalachicola, Tallahassee, Lake City, over towards perhaps Gainesville and even Jacksonville. Continuing north here, looks like we're going to have a big streak of rain going up through the Delta into Arkansas, Missouri, Iowa, southeast Minnesota, into Wisconsin, and of course, up on into Canada. I was a little too descriptive there, but I'm just trying to get you updated on this as best as possible. Let me show you at least one more thing. Arrival time of winds, tropical force winds. This is basically to say this is a kind of a good way of showing what they believe is the earliest time on a reasonable level where they believe that there will be tropical storm force winds, and then it wants to have Sunday 2 a.m. That's less than an hour from now along the coast of Louisiana. Sunday 8 a.m. Like the northern edge of Lake Pontchartrain, roughly speaking, and then out west and east of there. Sunday 2 p.m. continuing north, central Mississippi down into I'll say perhaps central Louisiana. Sunday 8 p.m. knocking on Arkansas's doorstep, roughly speaking. So most likely, let's see where they say is most likely. Okay, so most likely they think the onset is going to be 2 a.m., sometime between 2 a.m., maybe 2 a.m. just after, when the most outlier portions of Louisiana could start getting tropical force winds, and then by 8 a.m. you're starting to get more firmly into Louisiana. Now let me show you this. This is peak surge this is more specific for those viewers watching that could be watching on the Gulf Coast. The potential for storm surge is going to be 2 to 4 feet from about Morgan City out to the mouth of the Mississippi River in Louisiana. 3 to 5 feet going from there around to Ocean Springs, Mississippi. And then about 1 to 3 feet, wow, this is extends out pretty far. It goes all the way out through the Florida Panhandle coast, out around the Big Bend, down through Tampa Bay, all the way down. This is incredible. All the way down to Marco Island, there's going to be a residual risk of 1 to 3 feet, perhaps. That's incredible. I don't think that all of them will see that as a guarantee, but it is something to watch, be mindful of. Again, have non-perishable food. Have some cash if you can, in case the most impacted areas, in case if anybody lose power. I don't really think this will be a major event, but it's always good to be prepared, right? If you're in the immediate impact zone along the coast. If you're inland, say in your Ozarks, be mindful that there could be a tornadic threat, perhaps. I'm not saying this will be a major threat, but there is that possibility. Just be mindful of that. So let me see this. I don't know what this will populate exactly, but let's see what they claim is the inundation risk. And I do need to wrap this up. This is a fairly new, pretty cool tool from National Hurricane Center, I will say. So this is along and of course, this is some very low-lying areas of Louisiana here. And the map is wanting to suggest perhaps greater than 1 foot above ground along some of these areas out to the west, south, and less so to the east of Morgan City. You got some isolated areas of Lake Pontchartrain around Slidell, going around to Mobile. You got some showing up. You've got some down here, even in Florida. I mean, wow, look at that. You've even got some isolated areas here that's going to be at risk of having the smallest bit of storm surge. And I don't really see that being a major concern because we're really getting well out from the tropical storm at this point. All right, I think I'll leave it off. I think I'll leave this I think I'll stop right about there. But just be aware of this. Just understand there is a risk going on overnight. We'll keep up to date on it for you here on the Citizen Report and bring you any major updates if we need to. I think I'll wrap it up here, but I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in to the Citizen Report. I'm John Shannon. Don't forget our website as well. Actually, let me share my screen so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let me just do this real quick before we wrap up. But don't forget our website, thecitizenreport.weebly.com. And I'll also share with you my channel where you can find all of our videos for the Citizen Report here. Just bear with me one moment as I get this up for you. All right, here we go. Let me share my screen. Let me show you actually my YouTube channel first. And this is a good way to find us, find me. This is my full name, Jonathan Ryan Shannon. If you be so kind, give me a subscribe there and click the little bell so you get all of the notifications for my channel. And you can see here, I've got all my podcasts uploaded here. Occasionally I do something more personal, like this was actually a college assignment from Liberty University online earlier, like a month ago plus. And I've just got all kinds of stuff on here, but mostly the podcasts of recently. And also don't forget our website, thecitizenreport.weebly.com. This is what it looks like. I do need to update this with the 2 most recent podcast episodes, including a special bulletin from late today or tonight. On that note, I will wrap up the episode here. Let me know what you think about this and give me feedback and suggestions. If you want to be a guest on my show, you're always welcome. Just ask me and I'll be more than happy to accommodate you and bring you on, because I want to make this not just about a show I do, but and what my co-host David does. I want this to be where those who don't get a voice in the mainstream media, I want to let them have an opportunity to have their say. And this is, I'm trying to aim high with this, and I'm trying to do the best job I can with this. So as always, feedback is appreciated. If you have any questions, if something I said you weren't so sure about, like about George Soros or QAnon, whatever, just ask me. I'll be happy to help you as best as I can. Or any other topic. I'll be more than happy to help you. On that note, thank you for tuning into the Citizen Report. I'm Jonathan Shannon, and for myself and my co-host David Heller, have a great evening and a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you right back here again next time. Have a great night, everyone.
The Citizen Report is a production of New Shannon Media. All content protected under copyright.